Two Middle-Aged Men in Cleveland, episode 122. That'd be a
One, two,
good number
two.
to play for the lottery, the daily lottery, the pick three.
Oh,
Ken Dworsnik, Ted Klopp. Ted, I know we don't really talk about sports. Well, we do, but we don't like to. I'm going to be honest, it's tough not to talk about what we saw on Sunday from your team in the orange helmets. That was
pretty
it was
good.
pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's what you're finally looking for, I think.
I got more positive texts and all that. Usually my chat lanes with people are, this team sucks. Why do I watch? What am I doing? I can't drink enough, all that. And it was like, wow, look what's happening. Wow, our team is good. Wow. It's pretty wild. And then the other factor too, most times when I've watched that team in orange and brown play, then I'll watch other games and I'm like, wow, those teams look like they're in a different league than we are. They play much different. I must say that I watched a lot of the other games this weekend. Our team looks as good or almost better than some of the other teams. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a sign of things to come or whatever, but super exciting. Good for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And it's all because of the Schwartz.
Well,
the Schwartz is with you. I love it.
That's what I heard. The Schwartz is with them. I like that. That was impressive. Not the cleanest played game, but they got it done. And
that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
That's it. Get it done.
So I know I've mentioned this before. I'm, fat 51 and out of shape and trying to not to put too fine a point on it. Trying to, it's nice to be able to breathe and things like that. So I have a treadmill here. I'm trying to walk, things like that. And oddly enough, my shirt size has moved from a large to an extra large.
Yeah. Join the club.
This morning, I'm putting on a polo, and my wife tosses me a polo in a size large. And I said, large? And she said, well, put it on. I put it on. And she says, okay, take it off. I said, really? It looks that bad? She looks at me and she says, what month are you due?
Oh, my. Wow.
What
month are you due?
Are you due?
Wow. Yeah, you're largest when you've grown your body, not in the way you want it to. The largest look like schmediums, and you look like a sausage casing. So there you go. I know it well. Yeah, I need that XL just for that extra room, for sure.
Right. That's what I thought. I don't know.
She loves you though.
Yeah.
That's how they tell you that they love you.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I appreciate.
She didn't care if she'd say nothing and just let you run around looking like that.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That was a rude awakening, but we got a bunch of stuff on the show this week. You want to talk about what's on the show?
We can if you'd like to.
Okay. Well, how many cucumbers can you slice well blindfolded in 30 seconds, Ken?
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
Well, we got a guy. We're going to tell you who has the record for that. What's the craziest way you can think of to cross the Atlantic Ocean?
Boy, these are great questions.
Yeah, we've got the answer for you. We'll have that. Plus Cleveland sports history, a lesson on the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, and a stock market contest, kind of like fantasy football. We've got that and more coming up.
And now, a woman's perspective.
Why are good men like parking spaces? The good ones are already taken.
This has been a woman's perspective.
Ted, time for some good news.
I like good news.
I know you do, and we all need it. Connor Hulsa and his dad were fishing for walleye in Minnesota's Lake of the Woods earlier this summer. When Connor felt something heavy on his line, he reeled it in and discovered it was a brown wallet. Inside was $2,000 in cold, hard cash, and probably wet as well. They let it dry out and found a business card inside along with the cash. The business card was for Jim Denny, a man from Iowa, some 600 miles away. He lost the wallet on a fishing retreat over a year ago. Denny came up to the Moorhead, Minnesota to retrieve the wallet and met Connor. Connor refused any amount of cash inside the wallet, saying it was what any decent person would do. That's pretty nice.
There you go. He's right. And that's
what a decent
awesome.
person. Yeah. That's Jim Denny is a very lucky man because somebody
Yes.
could have just took that wallet and said, forget it. But
Yeah,
not Connor Halsa. He's a man among men.
he's a man for others.
He is a man for others. And
Yeah.
he provided us with some very good news.
See? It is time for another Cleveland history lesson. And so we bring in our Cleveland history expert, John Grabowski. And John, Public Square would not be the same without today's topic. The famous Soldiers and Sailors Monument. Been there for a long, long time. What's the history? Why is it there? How did it get there?
Well, it took a long time to get there, and there were some people who definitely did not want it on the square, and so there was issues with fundraising, whatever. It's the whole thing is thanks to a man named Levi Schofield, one of the most famous architects to come from Cleveland. If you know the Schofield building, that's his building. He did structures around the state of Ohio, and he got together the veterans in Cleveland area, got together in the 1870s to talk about building a Civil War monument. Almost every city had one. And that morphed into this incredible monument. It's probably the second largest Civil War monument in the United States. And it's on that southeast corner of the square. And it seems like you're right, it's been there forever. But there was pushback, several things. This can get to be a complex story. The first monument on Public Square was one of Oliver Hazard Perry, and he initially stood smack dab in the middle of the intersection of Ontario and Superior. But eventually that got too busy, so they moved him to the southeast corner of Public Square. So building this monument meant that you were going to have to move Perry, and there were some Perry advocates who didn't want it. And so there was money going on and whatever else. And they actually began building it before they got permission. They fenced off the area, made it a construction zone. If you want to learn more about this, and this is a line, Honoring Their Memory is a wonderful new pictorial book done by a great friend of mine, Lauren Pacini. It's a whole story of Levi Schofield, and particularly the monument. But it was built, and it was opened in 1894 on July 4th, so it's well over 100 years old. It certainly isn't the color that it was to begin with, given the smoke and dirt in Cleveland. It's been cleaned up. Right now, it's under incredible care, but it has, those four big statues outside, those larger than life bronzes that, honor the artillery, the Navy, the cavalry, and the infantry in the Civil War. And if you look closely at those monuments there, those statues, you can see there's an African American presence in the naval monument. They're helping load the mortar. And if you go inside, you'll find the name of all 10,000 people, men from northeastern Ohio, Cuyahoga County, who served in the Civil War. So that's there. And there are four huge bronze reliefs there. And one of them honors the women who raised funds for the Sanitary Commission for the Civil War. So it really is a diverse monument that shows the impact of the Civil War. And if you're looking, I forget the percentage. The number of people who served in Cuyahoga County was a substantial portion of those who were eligible, really high. So yeah, it's there. There are rumors that the Liberty Woman on the top of the monument was basically posed by Schofield's wife. I don't know if that's true. I'd have to talk to Lauren about it. There are all kinds of stories you can find, but I think there's only one larger monument, and maybe in Indianapolis. So go figure. That's Public Square now, but back when they were putting it together, the 1880s, 1890s, it took some time to build. There was pushback against it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That is unbelievable, John. What a great story. You talked about the upkeep of the statue and all that. Do you know off the top of your head how many times it's been kind of like renovated or fixed up or anything like that throughout the years? I mean, when you have something that's that old, obviously you're going to have to fix it up.
Yeah, I don't have figures, but there was a major renovation that was done recently, and there have been some new additions of members of the U.S. colored troops who were not listed there. So those have been listed, so it does get updated. And it now really has, full-time interpreter when you go there. So it's, for many years that monument was, 60s and 70s, it was kind of on the edge. And people were arguing to move it off of Public Square. And for the centennial, James McPherson, who's written one of the best books on the Civil War battle cry of freedom, came in and really praised the monument. Basically said this was, something that the city really ought to be proud of rather than trying to get rid of it. So, some people, it was dirty, it was filthy. Some people might remember that one of the habits was people put locks on the fence. They used to, so the whole fence was covered with little padlocks at one point. But now it's part of the revivified Cleveland Public Square. And it's not going anywhere, folks. It's never going to go anywhere.
Now, John, correct me, help me out here. There's a tunnel underneath the monument, or is that true? Or is it a small tunnel? What's going on there?
Those are small tunnels, and I think they're part of the support of the monument. They don't go anywhere, anything else. I think the interpreter will tell you that, but they're the stories of tunnels in Cleveland, and those are legendary. Every time somebody finds an underground passage, they will ascribe it to the Underground Railroad or one thing or another, how people got back and forth. I'm not totally well tuned on that, but I know there's a lot of what I would call apocrypha about Cleveland tunnels. So they're always trying to dig something new up. Yeah, well, Lauren's book, I have to give a plug for Lauren's book. You guys should buy it.
Okay.
It's really a labor of love because Lauren himself is a veteran of Vietnam.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. Well, there we go. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Soldiers and Sailors Monument in 5 minutes or less. I can do that in 5 minutes, says Mr. Grabowski, and so he has. Thank you, John.
Ladies and gentlemen, we were out and about Northeast Ohio, spending money, drinking beer, having food, and expanding our bodies. Nobody's better at that than myself. And seems like, Ted, you're right with me.
How many months are you?
I think I'm like a half month.
Okay.
So, but soon enough, it'll probably be close to 3.
Yeah.
Well, speaking on that theme, I'm going to only talk about one thing and one thing only. And when I say this word, you'll get excited. Oktoberfest.
Oh, my.
The old classic in Berea, in the Berea Fairgrounds in Berea, Ohio. I took in the Oktoberfest, where you and I used to spend some time together with our families and
That's right.
drink an ale, listen to music, watch the kids run around, watch them dance, all that fun stuff. So we went on 2 Sundays ago, which, by the way, which I find extremely interesting about the Oktoberfest, it is now over 2 weekends.
2 weekends.
So they have it the weekend of Labor Day, they have it on the Friday, they have it on Saturday, Sunday, and then they have it on Monday. And then the following weekend, they have it on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh.
And I must report, because my brother worked the Oktoberfest, pouring some beer the most recent weekend. He said it was absolutely packed.
Yeah. Now, wait, did he pour the beer or drink the beer or a little of one and a lot of the other?
Knowing Tony Dorkowitz, I imagine that he did both. So there's no doubt.
How many times did he stick his head under the
do a kickstand? I have no idea.
Yeah.
He was serving for a guy that was on our podcast, Aaron Wertz from from Planted Flag.
Sure.
So I did hear that I think they went through 8 kegs of beer just on his own. I mean, that's a lot of beer. So, but at any rate, we took in the Oktoberfest, saw the Glockenspiel, small Glockenspiel, had the Schmitz sausage, hot dog, whatever you want to call it. It was fun. We had a really good time. So we took the kids, and it was great. I was there with Tony and his wife Erica and all that. It was a lot of fun. So we did that. That was the big highlight. I've been to some cross country meets in Menor. I went to one in Canton, so we had that in the past couple weeks. But yeah, food and beverage and all that. It's the more of the same. Been through them many different times, so you know the places we've been. But yeah, that was the big highlight for the last 2 weeks. Was the Oktoberfest. Sir, how about you?
Ken,
As you have the smirk on your face, this is going to be good.
it's hockey, football, and soccer season.
Okay.
I haven't gone anywhere.
Well, can we at least give a rundown of the best, the best concession stands you participated in?
We haven't had any games yet. We just go for practices.
I mean, there's no concession stands at the practices.
No. I'm told, I haven't experienced this because we didn't go to the Shaker Heights pool, but I am told that the Shaker Heights pool has the best hamburgers around.
Really?
So, of course, I'm telling you this after the season, so we'll have to see if it's still the same next year. But I'll tell you one place that we went. This is a fun story. So because we have so many hockey teams in our association, we have to use a 6:30 a.m. ice slot that rotates between the teams for practice on Saturdays and Sundays. So a couple of weeks ago, 2 Saturdays ago, it was my oldest son's turn for the 6:30 a.m. ice on a Saturday morning. Maybe it was Sunday morning. And he's been begging me to go to IHOP. Well, we don't have an IHOP near us, so we went to the Original Pancake House.
Yes.
Oh my God. The pancakes are ginormous.
Yes,
They're
they are.
awesome.
Yeah.
The bacon, it's like one piece of bacon is like a piglet on the plate.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I
Great
ordered,
stuff.
I think, bacon, eggs, and pancakes, and I probably didn't need to eat for a couple of weeks. I could probably still be digesting that.
Did you pitch a complete game, or did you have to tap out?
I think I tapped out.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Close to a complete game. I think I got into 7th or 8th, but I think I
Nice.
tapped out. So, but big thumbs up to the Original Pancake House. We went to the one in Beechwood.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the one in Fairview. So yeah, that's great people. Great stuff. Well, Ted, thanks for spending your hard-earned money. I will need an update on the concession stands for these hockey and football games as we move forward. I would look forward to hearing who's going to have the best one. And hats off to the people at the Oktoberfest in Berea. Great time. And once again, get out and support your local businesses and restaurants. And continue to eat and drink with us and expand your bodies.
Blah, blah, blah.
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 Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah.
Our guest today apparently knows a lot about stocks, which is why we have him on, because we don't. But he has a website, Stock Showdown. So this is not your typical method of buying and selling and things like that. This is kind of like fantasy football for stocks, but we're going to learn more about it right now. So let's talk with William Anderson. Thanks for your time, sir. Tell us about Stock Showdown. Am I right? This is kind of fantasy football with stocks?
Yeah, Ted. Thanks again, Ted and Ken, for having me on the show. Excited to be here and recognizing that you guys are from my hometown of Seatown, Cleveland. So that's where I was born and raised. So excited to be. I feel like I'm back in my town of Brook Park, Ohio. So thanks, boys, for having me on. Yeah, a little bit of background on Stock Showdown. I've always been a big proponent of investing in the stock market, and this goes back to my days. I'll reference a high school, and maybe you've heard of them on your over there in Ohio, but. I went to school at Holy Name High School in Parma Heights, Ohio, home of the Green Wave. So that's where I was first introduced to the topic of business in the stock market with, I think, rest in peace, Mr. Bob Gale was my business teacher over there. And he first exposed me to the stock market. And ever since then, I've always been fascinated with it. And, growing up, my father, I was always fascinated with sports. So I've always had that passion. And in high school, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster, like on ESPN and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'd love to do something like that. But fast forward to, back in 2019, I had a student, a teacher now in New Jersey, school by the name of Sparta High School, but home of the Spartans. But nevertheless, I had a student back in 2019 come up to me. He's like, Mr. Anderson, can we watch the March Madness basketball tournament in class today? And, I love the tournament. I even in high school, back in the day in 1998 or 99, 2000, things were much different as far as accessing the games that were taking place at like noon on a Thursday and Friday. So trying to get those updates is vastly different back then than it was today. So immediately I was like, oh, this sounds so cool. I want to put on the tournament myself. But I was like, no, we got stuff to do. So I immediately dismissed this student who's, by the way, a basketball player, and he really wanted to watch it. And all of a sudden, like, I got this idea, and I started looking at my whiteboards around the room, and I just started drawing brackets all over my whiteboards. But instead of the college basketball teams that were playing in the tournament that day, I just started writing ticker symbols. Stock abbreviations all over these brackets. So instead of like Duke versus Northeastern or something like that, you'd see like Apple versus Adobe or something like that. And I tried to get technology companies with technology companies and consumer defensive with defensive and try to keep the industries cohesive. So I just randomly selected off the top of my head all these ticker symbols for these companies. And then I made my students, I'm like, all right, here's the deal. The only way you're going to watch March Madness is if you fill out my brackets, and we're going to track this stuff. Tomorrow, we're going to look at the stock market, and we're going to see how did Apple do and how did Adobe do, and whoever had the biggest percentage change was going to move on to the next round. And if you picked that, then you got 5 points or something like that. And we keep doing that until we got down to the championship, and the winner who had the most points got, I don't even know what I gave them, like a Dunkin' Donuts gift card or something like that. So that was back in 2019, and it just kind of has evolved to what you see now in front of you with different sports-related competitions. It's got like a sports-like feel to it, but with the stock market. So we have like a portfolio challenge where each week you're going to get a different list of companies to select from, and you got to select the companies that you think that are going to have the best performance, and you get measured against all of your peers that are doing the exact same thing with the exact same list. And then you have the bracket challenge, where, again, it's very comparable to the March Madness tournament. And then we're instituting this coming school year what was called the fantasy draft. And I've never been a big advocate and proponent of fantasy sports. And I have plenty of friends that do fantasy sports, and I know that it's huge and it encompasses a lot of time. So my idea was, why don't we get you to do the exact same thing with the stock market? Because then you'll really start to understand and what to look for with these stocks and with these companies. So long term, you have an idea of, this is how I want to maximize my wealth down the road. Because if you're doing it for fantasy sports, odds are you're going to lose. I mean, yes, one person wins or two people win or whatever it is, whatever your league you're in, but odds are you're going to probably lose more times than you win. So the mission behind Stock Showdown is to combine aspects of the stock market with sports in a fun, educational, entertaining way.
Well, and this is brilliant, in all honesty, to correlate something with the stock market in a kind of a sports type theme. I think this is a really good idea. How many people are involved with this sort of thing? How many, I mean, you talk about the brackets and things like that. How many people do you have involved with the different groups?
So yeah, that's a great question. Well, what I devised is I tried to come up with the companies that most people would probably recognize. So I stuck right now, and I'm sticking right now with the largest market cap companies. And market capitalization is just a fancy word for just the size of the overall company, how many shares there are, multiplied by the share price, just gives you the value of the company. So I tried to find the big boys that everybody would probably recognize for the time being. And as the program continues to evolve, I'd like to scale it down and look for mid cap and small cap, because those obviously pose significant rewarding opportunities as well. So as of right now, there are 11 major industries in the economy, and I'm not going to roll through all 11 right now. But again, I encourage your listeners to check out the website, stockshowdown.com, and that breaks down all 11 industries, basic materials, all the way through utilities, and I'm just categorizing them alphabetically. And then what I did is I took the top 28 companies in each of those 11 industries. So if you want to, do the math yourself, 11 times 28, I think gets you somewhere like around 352 companies or something like that, that encompass the large market capitalization companies that are involved in all the different challenges that are offered through the Stock Showdown platform.
That's awesome.
So like I said, as the program continues to evolve, I'd like to try to incorporate in the same methodology. Is the next tier down is mid cap, and we take the top mid cap companies, the top small cap companies, et cetera, rather than just giving you this giant list of companies of 5,000 something, whatever the number is. I know it's a very large number of publicly traded companies that you can research. Try to just stay focused on a couple hundred for the time being.
Wow. What's the reaction from the students still do this? Do you still do it with the students, or is this just a web exclusive, maybe, so to speak, now?
Yeah. So when the program first started in 2019, and as we, were talking before we got on air, the website has changed. So when I first did this, I just did it through Google Sites because that's all I knew how to build it through, and it's all basically powered by a Google Sheet. As I'm pretty proficient in Sheets, and I was able to aggregate all this data and feed it into the Google site. So my students were initially doing it in 2019. Through 2022-ish. And at the end of 2022 is when I worked with a developer. Thank you, Mohammed, for making this possible. But Mohammed over in Pakistan and I speak pretty regularly every morning, which is great because, nobody wants to wake up at 4 a.m. except me here on the East Coast. Luckily, over in Pakistan, it's like 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So it works really well, our schedules. But nevertheless, we built the Stock Showdown. Now it's all one word, stockshowdown.com, and built that website now that students across the country can access now. The goal this school year is to get into more schools, not just offer it to my students, but offer it to students across the country to participate in these weekly, monthly, and quarterly competitions.
That's very cool. My question for you, and by the way, you're talking to two guys. Don't hold this against us. You're talking to two guys that went to Ignatius. I actually worked for Padua High School for 4 years, so don't hold that against me, because that's big rivals there. We're in the same conference again, by the way. So the world is back together.
And congrats, Padua beat Holy Name last week. So congrats to the Bruins.
They had a big win. We won't talk about what happened the following week. It was not so good. So that's okay. That happens in football. So question for you, being in education, what is it that you've learned the most putting this together? What is it that you've seen from people that have participated, students that have participated? What is one thing as an educator, we're always learning. So what is the one thing you've learned the most about putting something like this together?
Oh, I think I could answer that question from two different perspectives. One from an entrepreneurial perspective, as far as the frustrations at times, and I guess managing expectations as far as what I have envisioned in my head and trying to translate that to other people and other stakeholders to share that same vision. And that they understand it as well. And that was one of the things, getting started with my dear Muhammad over in Pakistan is, not to say that there's a significant language barrier, but at times there were, but a cultural barrier as well. As here in the United States, it's just like, to me, and maybe it's again the way I grew up, it's just like common knowledge. Like, here's the March Madness basketball, bracket in the tournament, and this is these major sports here in the United States, and like here's these playoffs in a regular season, and just like it's just second nature to a lot of us here in the United States. But to try and then translate that and explain that to somebody across the world who didn't grow up with that same education, that was definitely a hurdle and took some time trying to get on the same page. But I think patience has definitely paid off, and proper communication is trying to explain it the best way I can. So that was definitely something I learned with this entrepreneurial journey is managing and setting those clear expectations with people that might have, again, a cultural difference with yourself. As far as the education with the students, what I've noticed, is the level of interest in the enthusiasm that goes with it. And I try to bring that enthusiasm. What I'll like to do is, because like I said before, truth be told, I wanted to be a broadcaster in high school. And I wanted to be on ESPN. And then when I got into college, I was like, all right, now I'm going to study business. Oh, I love what they're doing on CNBC. I could do that. Maybe I want to be on CNBC and be a broadcaster. So really what this has also allowed me the opportunity to do is do podcasts and YouTube videos where basically I'm giving like a play-by-play breakdown of like, all right, here are the weekly matchups. Here are the weekly companies that are in this week's competition. Here's the bracket challenge, and kind of give like a play-by-play of what to look for with this matchup and why I think this team's going to be or this company's going to be successful over this one. So I think that energy and that enthusiasm and that play-by-play dialogue has really gotten the kids on board with their level of enthusiasm as well.
That's very cool. That's
Awesome.
cool.
So here's maybe the most important question. How's your portfolio since you started doing this?
This, to me has definitely allowed to educate myself too, with companies that were, rather obscure to me. I said before, you're taking 352 companies from the largest industries in the economy. And of course, we all know the bellwethers off the top of our head, but some of those that are in that top list, and we're talking mid cap and small cap companies as well, this has definitely opened my eyes to other opportunities that are out there that I didn't really pick up on initially when I began the investing journey myself.
Do you compete in the brackets? I mean, do you put yourself in there and compete against, obviously we're students or others? Do you do that at all?
Oh, 100%.
Awesome. Yeah, you got to have bragging rights somehow. Yes,
Oh,
I
absolutely.
Tell them how it's done.
Yeah, well, I think that gets them to buy in too. Is like, every day, during the competition, I'd pull up the leaderboard, and it's kind of like, all right, put up or shut up. Let's go. You got to take me down. So,
Yep, that's awesome.
I think they all want to try to take me down. So,
oh, of course, anytime you could try to beat your teacher in anything, it's just like, yeah, that's the way to go. Oh, good for you. Really, really cool concept. This is impressive. I love it.
That is awesome. Well, give us the website one more time. And, if you want folks to follow you on social media or anything, do you post about how things are going?
Yeah, I mean, once the school year begins again, I'm much more regular posting on all the platforms, Instagram, not so much. Well, yeah, Facebook, because they're both connected, obviously. Do a lot of the podcasting through Spotify. So they can follow on Spotify as well, on Twitter, on LinkedIn as well. It's all done through Stock Showdown, one word. And of course, the website, stockshowdown.com. But we try to, again, I'll be more regular in the posting as the school year is about to begin as well, as far as these updates and the live feeds. Ultimately, what I'd like to do is kind of mimic what College Game Day does. With its weekly, like, let's go to a school and get people excited about these particular games. Ultimately, we'd like to do this school year is have on different schools across the country and go to a school and basically interview those students and kind of you students give me your takes on what you are looking for in the week ahead for these different matchups and things like that.
All right. Well, sir, thank you very much. And may the best stock portfolio win, I guess.
Yes, looking for the first challenge, ladies and gentlemen. Be on the lookout. We do these on quarterly basis, so be on the lookout. October the 2nd will be when the next competition goes live. So get your research done and everything you need to prepare yourself between now and October 2nd for the next round of competitions to begin.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks there, Ted. Thanks there, Ken. And good luck to your Indians. I think they can make a run.
Oh, gosh. I'm going home.
All right. At least for the Browns, there's always this year, right?
There's always next year. Yes. Yes. We'll
Only
see.
we can kick a field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We'll
good
see.
luck. Good luck to you guys. Thank you very much for having me on, and looking forward to hearing the show when it goes out.
Overachiever time, Ken. A Pennsylvania man went to the movies 777 times in a 1-year period. That got him the Guinness World Record. These are feature-length films, just so we're all in the same.
Oh, I want to make sure what
I
movies
think
we're watching.
going
Okay.
to that place off the highway that says adult. I don't think
Yeah,
that's
that's that. Okay, we're talking
No.
about regular movies.
the
Gotcha.
regular movies.
All right.
Now, employees at the Regal Cinema that 32-year-old Zach Swoop went to monitored him during screenings to make sure he was following rules that were set by Guinness. Those rules included not taking bathroom breaks and not having any snacks or beverages during the films. Why the heck would you do this then? He says he would see up to 3 movies after work on weekdays and squeeze in more during the weekend. He started his quest with Minions: Rise of Gru and finished with a showing of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The movie he saw the most times, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. 47 viewings. The previous record for this was 715, set in 2018. So this guy made this effort, contacted Guinness, said, I'm going to do this. And they told him what to do. And then he went out and did it, which, I mean, I admire the planning and whatnot, but I don't know. If I'm making a movie, I'm going to, it's like out and about. I'm going to enlarge my body.
Right. You're gonna have enjoyment with it. Yes.
And there's no chance. There's very little chance, I should say. Might not no chance, but what are the odds that either of us are going to make it through a 2-hour feature-length film with a soda and not step out to go to the bathroom? Come on.
No, it's highly unlikely. Yeah. That's I'll be honest with you, hats off to him. He saw 777 movies, but I think towards the end, it seems like he was just watching movies as opposed to for enjoyment, just to get the record.
I wonder
I'm sorry. I've seen Puss in Boots. That's great. It is a good movie. I'm not watching it 47 times.
47 times. Do you think they had to check to make sure he was awake for all 777?
I don't know. I guess maybe we try to reach out to this guy and try to have him on, because in all honesty, it sounds like he gets up, goes to work, and then as soon as he's done with work, he's looking at going to movie theaters and watching movies. So what if he got a discount for doing all this?
Yeah, how about that? I can't imagine the guy's married. I mean, when would he have time?
I don't know. Wow. Well, Ted, we do have another overachiever.
Oh,
and this one is a little bit different.
Okay.
So a Canadian chef broke a Guinness World Record by chopping 166 slices of cucumber in 30 seconds while blindfolded.
Standing on a pogo stick with his left foot.
Wallace Wong got it done and claimed the record on an episode of the Guinness World Records Italian TV show. So this guy's just chopping away blindfolded. Could have took out a finger, but doesn't care. And cut 166 slices of cucumber in 30 seconds. Now, here's my question.
Yeah.
Is this multiple cucumbers? I mean, I guess maybe I have to ask a food person, how many slices can you get out of a cucumber? That has to be multiple cucumbers, right?
I don't know. I'm not up on my cucumber slicing, I gotta tell you.
Well, maybe we have to, it's another one we have to talk to, Mr. Wong.
Well, I tried to get him on the show this week, but Wallace Wong tried to get him on. Unfortunately, I wanged the wrong number.
Oh, my. Well, we're going to have to get more information. Once again, another Guinness World Record. They stare at people when they watch movies to make sure they don't eat and drink, to make sure the guy actually watched 777 movies. And then we got some guy who's blindfolded, chopping cucumbers.
Chopping
30
cucumbers.
seconds. 166,
your
166 slices. My gosh. If that's not overachieving, I don't know what it is.
Cleveland! This is for you!
It's time for the professor of sports, specifically Cleveland sports, Dusty Sloan, to join us. Dusty, we're going to dip back again. September 6th, 1946. All-America Football Conference begins regular season play as the Cleveland Browns beat the Miami Seahawks 44-0 before a sold-out crowd, I believe, of 60,135 at Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. Talk about that pounding that the Browns gave the Miami Seahawks, not the Seattle Seahawks, the Miami Dolphins, the Miami Seahawks.
Yes, the old All-American Football Conference, the first game that the Browns have ever played. Obviously, people know the history that the Cleveland Rams moved out to Los Angeles in the NFL, and the Browns took their place in the AAFC. And the Browns won all 4 AAFC championships before moving on to the NFL. But this first ever game, 44-0, like you said, in front of 60,000 plus people. And again, it's the names you know: Lou Groza, Dante Lavelli, Otto Graham. You just go on and on and on. And the weird thing about this, now remember, we're talking about 1946. The game was a little different back then. The Browns had 6 different guys attempt to pass, and the Miami Seahawks had 7 different guys attempt to pass. So there's a lot of different types of play back then than what you see in 2023.
That is interesting. Why so many guys throwing the ball?
Well, I think back then, yeah, you had the quarterback, but you also had what was called the halfback, which was a runner, but also what could be a thrower. So even when you had a quarterback like Otto Graham, who, remember, in 1946 was a rookie, he wasn't Otto Graham, quote unquote, at that point yet. And there was a lot of chicanery back then and a lot of different formations. So guys who were running the ball were also going to throw the ball quite often.
So is this the beginning of the dynasty, really, Dusty, in 46? I mean, they had a heck of a run after that, but would you say this is kind of the start of this?
Yes, this was the jumping off point, and again, winning championships every year that the AAFC existed. And again, they also were the ones that integrated professional football. When you talk about Marion Motley, he was in this game, caught a 35-yard pass, 5 carries, 19 yards. But they were so good that they had, not only did they have 6 guys attempt to throw the ball, they had, it looks like, about a dozen players run the football. So they had, plus Paul Brown, obviously, as head coach. So they were far and away better than any team in the AAFC. And then when they went to the NFL, even though the NFL didn't know it and didn't think it was going to be the case in the early 50s, they were head and shoulders ahead of the NFL as well.
Unbelievable that that it all started right around this time, right as they come in. You got any insight on? I mean, is it as simple as the Seahawks moved to Seattle, or Is there anything else with regard to that, the name of that franchise?
No, that's purely coincidence because the Seahawks were an expansion team in the NFL with the Buccaneers in 1976. In fact, Miami Seahawks only spent one season in 46 there before they moved to Baltimore and became the Baltimore Colts, which eventually went into the NFL. So no connection between the Miami Seahawks and the Seattle Seahawks.
Very
I didn't think
good.
there was, but I thought it was a bit of a coincidence. But Dusty, it's always good to have you on so you could reaffirm that sometimes we don't know what the heck we're talking about. So thank you for that. Well,
Thanks,
Dusty, thanks
guys.
for the time. Once again, All-America Football Conference, a 44-0 pounding, and I mean a pounding of the Miami Seahawks. It was such a pounding that they couldn't even keep those two names together anymore. So, Dusty, thanks again.
Appreciate it, guys.
Cleveland! This is for you!
The most trusted name in journalism, Klopp's Clips.
All right, Ken, here we go. Cops in Nebraska got a call about a vehicle with a cow inside rolling through Norfolk.
Oh, my.
They responded and discovered that it wasn't a cow. No, it was a full-size bull riding shotgun. The bull is actually a celebrity in his hometown. The bull's name is Howdy Doody, and he appears in some parades and such. Lee Meyer is Howdy Doody's owner, and Mr. Meyer was given a warning, but he did not receive a moving violation.
Oh, boy. There we go. There we go.
That's a lot of bull.
What are you doing? Did you see the video for this? Did you see this guy driving around this? It's like a convertible, okay? He's got the bull in there. Well, then, I mean, I'm not trying to be too descriptive here, but there's stuff flying all over the place.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff of the darker variety, of the brown variety? Okay. Yeah.
The poor bull. I can't imagine that's how he wants his life to be, driving around in some convertible.
No. I'm going to go with, I think you're correct on that.
My gosh. Come on.
A Florida ultra marathoner is in hot water. Well, he was in cold water. Now he's in hot water. He apparently tried to cross the Atlantic Ocean in a homemade hamster wheel.
Yeah, boy.
Investigators say this is at least Ray Balachi's fourth attempt to cross the Atlantic like this. This one ended about 60 miles off the coast of South Carolina when the Coast Guard found him floating in the wheel. He had previously been told the vehicle was unsafe. He's now facing several federal charges.
Oh, well, there you go.
Shocker.
That's surprising. They told you don't do it. You do it anyway.
And then you get charged.
It's your fourth time, so yeah, you're gonna do some time.
If I'm crossing the Atlantic Ocean, it is surely not going to be in a homemade hamster wheel. A Chicago news crew was out shooting a piece on a string of robberies around 5 a.m. a couple weeks ago when they were robbed at gunpoint.
Oh, my.
3 masked men stole their camera and a few other things.
Oh.
The footage was in the camera, so the story never aired. Police are...
Oh, jeez. My gosh. Oh, my.
How bad's the crime in Chicago? You can't even do a news story on it.
Oh, my gosh. That's brutal, man. You know that's not going to be the last time that's going to happen, by the way.
No.
Oh, my.
Wow. Sports at the U.S. Open a couple weeks ago. Tennis wasn't the only headline. 8th-seeded Maria Sakkari? I don't know.
I think it's Sakkari, yes.
Time out. There was a guy I used to work with years ago at WKNR. He was a news guy, and they would have him fill in on 2020s. And it was like they made him fill in every time there was a tennis tournament with all the folks from out of the country. And he could not say any of these names. And we would wager how many names he would mispronounce in a given update. So anyhow, this 8th-seeded player was playing on court 17 at the U.S. Open, and she was losing. She complained of an overwhelming smell of pot. Another player said court 17 smells like Snoop Dogg's living room. The tournament conducted an investigation, but they have yet to weed out the source of the smell.
Weed it out. I love it. Love it.
Snoop Dogg's living room.
That is outstanding.
That pretty well sums it up.
Snoop-a-loop.
Yep. I'm Ted Klopp. That's news to me.
Oh no, not a dad joke.
Ted, why couldn't the bicycle stand up by itself?
I don't know.
It was too tired.
That joke was horrible.
We're coming to the end of episode number 122. Do we have any famous 22s we need to... Wasn't Felix Wright 22?
Felix Wright was 22.
Okay.
Yes, he was.
22 for the Indians.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Do you have a 22 for the
I
Indians?
think I might. No, not the... I might have one for the Cavs.
Oh, well, I think I know who 22 for the Cavs is. Larry Nance.
My favorite basketball player of all time from Clemson. I love that guy. Classic.
And nothing better than Howie Chiswick calling that basket.
Oh my gosh.
22 for the Tribe. I can't, nobody's coming to mind. I'm
Probably
sure there's
somebody.
I'm sure there's been some.
There has to be somebody. Yeah.
Did you, by the way, do your kids at school, do they have safety patrol? Do they participate in that activity?
We did at a younger age where we went to a safety patrol class, but I don't know if
But
they
you don't,
have
they don't
anything like
hold
that.
the sticks out or the crossing.
Oh, you're talking about that, the crossing
yeah.
guards. Yeah, my daughter's done that. I don't know
Yeah.
if my son did or not, but my daughter's done that previously.
My oldest son, you got to be in 6th grade to be a part of the safety patrol. So
Okay.
that started on Monday. And I'm driving home at the same time they're getting out of school. And so I usually call to, how'd the day go? And just to get them, hey, here's what's coming up the rest of the day. Here's what we're going to do. We got to do homework, just making sure that they know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I call my son, first day on safety patrol. I got him on the phone and I said, I want to know how many kids were injured or maimed at today's dismissal from school. That's good parenting right there. My application for Father of the Year will include that particular question to my son, who said, nobody, Daddy, you're not funny. Said, I'm the funniest guy on the phone right now. No, you're not.
I mean, it can make it to a point they might not allow him to do that because of that questioning. Somebody's going to find out from school. That's classic. Does he enjoy it?
I think so. So there's pretty much 2 areas where they patrol. They do the parking lot or they do the front of the school where the buses pick people up. So he's been in the parking lot so far, and it's for 15 minutes after school. So it's pretty simple. I don't know. He hasn't, if there have been any incidents where he's had to, pull a kid back or tell a kid that the kid's doing something wrong or unsafe, he hasn't shared that with me yet. But I'm looking forward to. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
And I'll say, now you know how I feel.
Do you go through the line as well? And then when you see him doing the crossing guard stuff, do you blow the horn at him? Because that's what I do. I did one time. One of my friends. No names, please. One of my friends'
is the one who normally
kids
does the pickup, but I got to tell you, that is reason enough to leave work early. Yeah,
light it up.
Yeah.
You want to do this? You're gonna have to deal with some consequences here. You're gonna have to hear a horn. I did that to one of my buddy's kids one time. I kind of laid on the horn a little bit. I think everyone in the line, and I think the teachers standing outside, they looked at me cross-eyed, and the kid looked at me, and he just smiled, and I just kind of waved and moved along. But yeah,
Yep.
classic. You got to have
That's
fun,
great.
man. Light it
Yeah.
up. Light it up.
Make it. I should use one of our work vehicles to do that. The unmarked white van. That'd be.
Oh
good.
gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Add a whole extra layer to that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Hey
Well,
Ken, we have I'm going to bet we have a good guest next week.
We do. We really do. So I'd like to announce that I've befriended a gentleman by the name of John Ryan. He is a handicapper. He basically handicaps different games, but in all honesty, the thing that's really cool about him, it's done in a different way. He uses a database with all these different algorithms and all that. It's pretty impressive. John was supposed to join us this week. We interviewed him. We're going to be very honest with you. This is how we do things. We interviewed him. We had a computer failure. We just did.
Great 20-minute interview.
He was outstanding. It's some of the best. I mean,
great.
both of us were really into it. He gave us great information. And what happens? The computer crashes.
Computer didn't save. Yeah.
But we'll have John on again, and we'd like to announce that we will be having the John Ryan Play of the Week. John and I have known each other for the past 3 years, and his story is it's pretty remarkable. I mean, the guy is a 22-year survivor of a rare blood cancer, where he basically was told at one point in time he had 6 to 12 months to live, and he's kind of taken that and basically turned it into helping people and turning things positive. And in all honesty, he's a really good handicapper, a very nice man, and very analytical, as you and I have found out when we were interviewing him. He's done it for 28 years, and his philosophy is he changes sports betting into an investment strategy, basically promoting safe betting and basically betting with your head and not over it. He's had great success. So the first week of the college football season, he went 9-3. He also over the last 3 seasons, he's 76-36 in football against the spread, winning 68% of his games. Hats off to the guy. So I think you watched games this week. How many people do you think bet on Detroit to win on Thursday against Kansas City?
A very small percentage.
Small amount, yeah.
I'd be willing to bet that the majority of their zip codes were in the greater Detroit area.
Well said. So he had the outright winner in that game. And then the Monday night game, which was just crazy to end the game on a punt return in overtime. John also picked the New York Jets against the spread in that game. So far for this year, he's done very well. He's won 64% of his bets against the spread over the last 3 seasons in NFL football. And if anybody does any type of betting or knows anything, it's a 50-50 shot. Let's be honest. One team can win, one team can lose. Anything can happen. But John has basically put himself at a percentage of 64%. So very well done. He's got a ton of followers on Twitter, a ton of YouTube videos that you could find him. You could find his stuff at John Ryan Sports 1 on Twitter. And then the name of his sports handicapping site is predictiveplaybook.com. John gave us a play for this week. Ted, I know this is one that you're going to be placing your bet
Colorado.
on.
It's the Colorado game.
The Colorado game is correct, but he recommends taking the opposite team, which would be Colorado State. Right now, as we talk on Tuesday afternoon, the spread is 23 points.
Hey, so that's nothing to lose a toe over.
So his recommendation is take Colorado State plus the 23 points against Colorado. We will have a play from John each podcast during the football season, and we will have John on again to talk about his story and why he's so successful in sports betting. So there you go. Very exciting stuff. Working with a friend and helping him out and helping out too. You know, we all can use a little bit more money in our pocketbooks, and John's going to have plays for us. Very exciting.
Awesome stuff. John's got a great story, and I'm looking forward to hearing it again.
So what do you got coming?
just throw that in there.
That's good. I mean, what are you going to do? Technology.
I don't know.
Just anything can happen.
We got the preseason scheduling meeting for hockey on Saturday. And then, preseason games are gonna start, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be live. We will be live from Shaker and many other ice rinks across Northeast Ohio. In your season, once again, I like to tell everybody, you basically start in October, correct?
The preseason starts September 22nd.
Okay.
The regular season starts October. November, the first weekend in November.
And you're going till April?
Regular season meeting is the 29th, 28th.
You're going to April, correct?
March.
That's a long season, man.
A long season.
It's a long season. How are we doing in football? What's our football update? Do we have a record?
We are let's see, 6th grade is 1-2. 5th grade is 2-1, I believe.
What's the team that won like 50-6 or whatever?
That's the 6th grade team. They haven't won again since then. They used up all their points the first week. I don't know.
Too soon. Well,
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah.
That happens.
Too early.
Yep. I've been taking it cross country. My son actually, he'll be running in Louisville, Kentucky, which is super exciting. Overnight trip. He actually ran a very good race last week when he ran in Seneca East. So he's been having a lot of fun. And then we are starting dance season this week. The dance is starting.
The dance. What is that? Is this competitive dance? What does that mean?
It is competition dance.
This is your daughter.
My daughter's doing this. Yeah, she
And-
did some last year through Dance Excel, and she's doing it again in Medina. So she's very excited.
LA? What kind of dance is it?
It's a combination of a bunch of different things, hip hop, and they do some a bunch of different dances. She was in 7 or 8 different performances the last show that I saw. So
Now, is she performing as an individual or part of a group?
part of a group.
Part of a group. Okay.
And then they go to these team competitions. There's like I think 4 of them, 4 or 5 that they have sometime next year. So yeah, there we go. There we go. I'll be like you. I'll be reporting. We have to go to Pittsburgh, Canton. I think we go to Youngstown. I can't remember where else we go. So it's some overnight trips.
I have 5 hockey bags in my car right now.
Why do you have 5? Are you and Erica playing hockey as well?
No,
That's nice.
I have 2 kids who play both goalie and skate.
Oh, so they have to have
2
separate
older
bags.
ones.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's just either the stuff won't fit in one bag. So I have it organized so they have a skater bag and a goalie bag. And then my youngest, he played goalie last year at the mite level. That's the young level.
Yeah.
He's a first year squirt this year. And I said, hey, buddy, are you interested? Do you want to try goalie this year? And he looked at me and he said, well, Daddy, how hard do they shoot the puck? And I said, okay, I got my answer. Thank you.
There you go. That's what you wanted to know.
Yep.
How hard do they shoot the puck?
How hard do they?
What son is this now?
What that would be the 9-year-old.
Okay, gotcha.
9-year-old, yeah.
So he doesn't want to play.
I don't think he's going to be in the net too much.
Okay.
Unless he changes his tune.
But the other 2 are, correct?
The other 2 are in the net periodically and skating as well.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I hope for a successful season. Let's focus on one season at a time. Let's get some wins in football.
That'd be nice.
Who we playing this week? Who we got on the docket?
Oh, hold on. Let me go to the old Outlook.
I might be able to give you a preview or something like that.
Yeah, well,
scouting report.
So let's see. The 5th grade team is going to be taking on St. Hilary on Saturday. Good seats still available.
Is that a home game or are you away?
That is I don't know how they designated it. That's at the old St. Greg's.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And then on Sunday, the 6th grade group is going to be playing Holy Family at Archbishop Hoban High School Stadium.
You're going to play Holy Family in Akron.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. Got to travel all the way to Akron
to play Holy Family.
Holy Family. Yeah. That makes no sense. I don't know why.
That's field availability.
That's the way it works.
I know that Holy Family program has always been pretty strong. They've always been very good in CYO football. So they'll be bringing the wood. They're ready to come get some. It's exciting. You're playing 8-minute quarters? Is that what you're playing? 10.
6th grade plays a 10-minute quarter with a running clock. The 5th grade plays a 8 minutes running clock.
I was gonna say that clock moves pretty quick. In all honesty,
the only time it stops is if there's an injury or a score.
That's good.
So
it's safe. Well,
but it's fun to watch the the referees do like the play is stopped and they make the motion like stop the time.
Yeah.
And they don't stop the time because they're not supposed to.
Right.
And then when they actually want you to stop the time, there's this fierce
Yes.
move like this. It's very confusing, and usually the clock doesn't stop when it's supposed to.
Do you have involvement in these games? Are you part of the chain gang or anything like that?
I was part of the change gang for the 5th grade game this past week, and the 6th grade game in the 54 to 6 game. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I need to be on the chain gang again.
Yeah, I mean, you just answered your own question. Get
Yeah.
back on the chain gang. And
I'm
move that thing
undefeated as
forward.
a chain gang member.
So what do you do when the other team has the ball? You hardly pull the chain out, and then when your team has the ball, you kind of move it in. Is that what you're doing?
As
You have an
I
advantage.
said to my oldest son, who was on the chain gang, he's a 6th grader doing the chain for the 5th grade. I said, when we have the ball, it's 1st and 9 1/3. So, yeah, that's how it works.
Oh my. Well, special thanks to our guests, John Grabowski, Dusty Sloan. Special thanks to William Anderson, Cleveland native, by the way. Very cool. That was kind of really fun to catch up with somebody. Went to Holy Name High School, and he's got a really good idea when it comes to the stock market and making it like almost like a fantasy football type of thing. It's very cool. And well, we tried to have John Ryan on, but our technology was shitty. So let's be honest.
Hey,
Where we're
can't say that.
You can't say that on live radio.
Yeah.
So John, we'll have John on soon. And once again, thanks for his pick of Colorado State over Colorado this coming Saturday. Well, hopefully everybody enjoys the fall. We're there, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost at the end of September. We'll be approaching October. The leaves will be changing, but don't you worry. And don't forget, we're just 2 middle-aged men in Cleveland.
2 Middle-Aged Men in Cleveland is sponsored by Westminster AV, custom audio-visual packages for all occasions.